And we've got a temperature of 67 degrees with partly cloudy skies out there currently in Beaver County. And that's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. All engine running.
Rush Hour is just getting started on Beaver County Radio. It's time for Driving in the Fast Lane with Frank Sparks. It's the show that talks about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There will be guests, and Noah Haswell will have the news of the top and bottom of each hour. You're in the Fast Lane. And now, here is the host of the show, Frank Sparks.
Hey, good morning. Today's going to be an interesting day because I don't have to talk too much. So we're going to start out. Tom Young's here from First Consultants. He's going to make his monthly appearance. Then after that, Eric Nine, Homer 9 and Sons. He's going to come in and talk. You got any questions about your air conditioning, your HVAC, anything like that? Eric will be here to answer those questions in the 11 o'clock hour. So it's going to be a fun day. And with that, let's get it all started. Say good morning to our financial coach and good friend, Tom Young.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a beautiful day outside today. The temperature is right. It's not humid. It's just a great day in the world all the way around with economics and everything going on. It's just a great day. I want to talk about today why we win and why we lose.
Okay.
And the attributes that make those things happen in each of our lives. Because we watch people, we meet people that appear to be extremely successful. And if you get to know them, you realize they really don't have anything more than you do other than the way they think. So, and the bottom line is the way we think. We're going to talk about that today. I want to start our show today with a prayer, as I always do. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this morning. Bless our listeners with success, health, and family love. We pray for world peace and the end of conflicts. Guide us with your grace and light today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
You know, it's funny. I had a conversation with somebody recently, and it led to Donald Trump syndrome, you know, this disease that has gone around. And I'm not going to get into it today, folks. I know, if I talk about the good of Donald Trump, you're not going to like me. And you know what? I don't really care. Because what I care about is your future. What I care about is America's future. And my 30,000-foot view, I look down and I look at all of the segments of everything from the liberal side to the conservative side. And you know what I find? There's good and bad everywhere. I don't care who you are. There are no perfect people. There was only one person born in the world that was perfect, and that was the Son, Jesus Christ. And since that time, nobody has ever been able to dispute that, and it is proven to be the right thought over and over and over again. So how do we think? I like to start with a couple things. First thing is, let's start with personalities. I have an advanced certificate in what is known as DISC, D-I-S-C, and it's a study of personality types. And I give people this assessment. It is not a test. There are no right or wrong answers. And everybody falls into one of these four categories or a mix of. And the first one is a high D. A high D personality, their basic motivation is they love challenges, they make choices, and they like control. They need to learn that people are important. Relaxation is not a crime. Some controls are necessary. Everyone has a boss, and verbalizing conclusions helps others understand them better. They're dominant, domineering, and on and on. The next one I'm going to talk about is the C personality. Cleric is what it's known as. Basic motivation, quality answers, excellence, and value. And I'll put all these into a site when I'm done. The next one is S. Okay, this is the servant attitude. Basic motivation is they want to be secure. They're looking for security. They want to be appreciated. They look for appreciation and assurance. Okay? That leads me to the I personality. Basic motivation is recognition, approval, and popularity. And I'm not going to go into all of these, but we are somewhere in a blend. When I took this test tonight, this assessment, and I've taken it a couple of times, and I come out pretty much the same every time I've taken it, and I'm kind of even across the board. And Dr. Rome, who taught in this course and created this DISC program, he said, I have the best of all attributes because understanding personalities helps you to communicate and with other people. When you understand another person's personality, you know how to ask or say things. If I'm talking to a personality that is a high D, I would avoid telling him what to do. I would more focus on asking for help than I would on telling somebody what to do. Because a high D, and I have a D personality, and I look back in my early days in high school, I didn't do well in high school. Didn't mean I was dumb or stupid. It's just they didn't know how to handle my personality. I have a D personality that stands out, and don't tell me what to do. I will go to the ends of the earth to help somebody, but don't tell me what to do. If you get the meaning of that. Now, if 4 people walk up to a burning building, and this is a little story that I always tell to get an idea. These 4 people walk up to this big apartment building on fire, multi-stories high, and it's on fire. The D personality walks up and immediately starts giving orders and directions, and he's the first one to get the fire out. The C personality walks up to the building, and they have a clipboard, and they're sitting there making a list. They're looking at the building, and they're writing a list, and then when they get the list made, then they have to, we got to prioritize on what's going to happen. So they would be referred to, sometimes people would refer to somebody like that as being anal. If you ever heard it that way. Mm-hmm. The S personality, they're going to walk up, look at the building with their hands in their pocket and sheepishly look up and say, how can I help? What can I do? Just tell me what to do and help. An S personality, their Achilles heel. And we all know people like that. We love them, but they're people that offer to do more than they're even capable of doing sometimes and doing that. And then that leads me to the I personality. Now, Hollywood is full of I personalities, if you get my meaning in that. This I person would walk up, he'd look at the building, and he'd say, far out, where's the hot dogs and the mushrooms, or the marshmallows, so let's have a party. And that basically are the personality types. It's funny, yesterday I had a grandson day with my grandson Archer, and we went down to my pontoon boat, and we spent the afternoon on the boat fishing. We didn't catch any fish, but we spent time together yesterday afternoon. Now, Archer is a high I personality, and he just if you say something, he'll tell you a story about it, because we were sitting here and a gentleman walked by and started to talk, and then Archer went from talking about his brother and what his brother likes and and then I mentioned something about YouTube, so then Archer started talking about YouTube because he watches YouTube all the time, and it was funny to sit there and realize that I've got this high I personality grandson, and he loved recognition. It just fits Archer completely. So now, personalities, that's the first layer of who we are and what we do and how we think. Now we got to go from there to start, am I positive or am I negative thinker? Do I see the glass half full or do I see the glass half empty? And that's really a decision. Here, William Shakespeare, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So in controlling our mind and how we think is so important. And really, folks, you know what it is? It's really a decision. It's just simply a decision. And the other part of that is what I would go to and I call the human problems. And R. Nelson Nash, the author of the book, The Infinite Banking Concept, we've talked about that. Mm-hmm. And he talks about the human problems. The human problems, the number one is understanding Parkinson's law. C. Northcote Parkinson, 1909 to 1993, says work expands to meet the time envelope allowed. So if you have a job to do and you have all day to do it, but it's about a 1 hour job, Frank, when are you going to be done?
1 hour
at the end of the day,
you
know,
right. Yeah.
and that's what applies.
Okay.
So give a person a job 3 days to complete, but it won't be done until the late on the third day.
Yep.
And those are decisions of how we do things. If it doesn't seem to be urgent, we don't get into an urgent move. Give them 30 days, and it won't be done until the 30th day. A luxury once enjoyed becomes a necessity. Expenses rise equal to income. That leads me to the thinking financially that I teach people. We have a current lifestyle. My lifestyle today is at war with my lifestyle I hope to have in the future. Mm-hmm. And it's a constant battle because I want it today. We have become a society of instant. I want it now. I want it today. And so we don't realize how much we forfeit the future lifestyle that we're hoping to have someday for today's lifestyle. And that leads me to my 4 rules. We'll get to those. But number 2 is Willie Sutton's law. The human problem, Willie Sutton's law. Willie Sutton was a bank robber, 1901 to 1980. And when he continued to rob banks, they interviewed him. They would catch him and put him in jail, and he would break out or get out, and then he would go back and rob banks. And they asked him, why do you rob banks, Willie? He says, because that's where the money is. Now, when I first heard Nelson Nash tell this story, and this was in the year 2000, I never thought anything about this Willie Sutton guy until about a year ago. I'm on the news, and they're talking about this prison in New Jersey that was being torn down, and the famous bank robber Willie Sutton was a famous prisoner of this prison that was torn down. Number 3, the golden rule. Now, we all think of the golden rule as do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Mm-hmm. But the golden rule of finance in the world is who has the gold makes the rules, is what's going on. Somebody said something, I was just listening on the radio coming in, and they were talking about Elon Musk and this new this new stock offering that came the other day, and he became the first person to become a trillionaire based on the value of that stock. And so anybody that has that kind of wealth, there is a segment of our society that attacks those people. They don't need all that money, and no. And this person said, look, he says, if Elon Musk loses, it isn't he that loses, it's all the people that work for him.
Correct.
Because the people at SpaceX that was originally in California moved to Texas. Mm-hmm. All of those people that work for him had stock options before this offering happened, and they all became millionaires on the day that this stock offering was brought out there. So be careful if we punish people for standing out and being successful, what do we have left? I mean, we look at you and I, Frank, sitting here in this radio station. Somebody owns the radio station, St. Barnabas. Right. You know, they run this. They're a service organization for older folks, and they have to make money. I think they're the largest in Western Pennsylvania in this area in what they do. But we have to look for the good in things. You know, that's that decision, how we think. That we either good or bad. It's all based on how you think. Right. Here's another quote. The future will result from your imagination or someone else's. You have to have a dream or someone else will. And thinking about that, it's just interesting that I meet so many people, they have, number 4, human problem, the arrival syndrome. And we've all met people, Frank, that you go to talk to them, and they just, I know it all. Don't worry, I understand that. I meet people, and they say, oh, I know all about life insurance. Yep. I said, oh, you do? I says, tell me about the waiver of premium provision in life insurance that guarantees that I will accumulate all this money, even if I become disabled. The insurance company will put all of this money in there, and I will still have all of these benefits, even if I'm permanently disabled. Oh, you didn't understand that provision. How's your 401k doing? If you become disabled and don't work anymore, who's going to put money in your 401k for you to solidify your retirement?
Somebody says
nobody. Nobody. It would be in violation of the law because you have to have earned income to put money into those kind of plans. And number 5 is use it or lose it. And how many times in our lives we have looked at our past and something came by us and we had a choice to do something with it or not do something with it. And now we look back and believe me, regret is a lot bigger problem mentally than it is the challenge and the hard work of doing something about whatever you want to do.
Right.
I want to talk about poverty thinkers and prosperity thinkers. I see we're getting close. Where are we going to break, Frank? What do we need?
We need about 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about poverty thinkers versus prosperity thinkers after the news, and we'll go from there, and we'll be back after the news.
Art Cornell from Beaver Cemetery in Mausoleum. Art, tell us about the cremation garden at Beaver Cemetery.
Our cremation garden is a very affordable burial option for families choosing cremation. Burial in our cremation garden provides a 62% savings over a traditional burial.
Why do some families choose cremains burial over options like a decorative urn in their home?
More people today are opting for something long-lasting. They want the ease and lower cost of cremation, but still want to memorialize their loved ones in a more permanent way.
And your cremation garden gives them an affordable way to do this?
Yes. In addition to a 62% savings over traditional burial, our cremation garden gives families a place to visit today and preserves their family heritage for generations. And everything your family owns at Beaver Cemetery will be protected by our Perpetual Care Fund.
Friends, you can learn more at beavercemetery.net.
Beaver County Radio and Moon Township Ford are teaming up for the 4th annual Cruise in the Ridge Car Cruises. This year's car cruises are presented by A.K. Nahhouse Appliance Furniture Mattress and TV and Dan Hoffman State Farm Insurance. Join us this Saturday, June 20th from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. for the 2nd cruise of the year. The cruise is being held at the Beaver County Radio Studios at 4301 Dutch Ridge Road in Brighton Township. Solid Gold Saturday host J.D. Merkel will be spinning tunes in the parking lot. There will be food trucks, a 50-50, and a chance auction. The cruises are rain or shine, and the first 100 receive a dash plaque. Collect all 5 for a chance at a special prize at the end of the year. Cruise in the Ridge is also being sponsored by Tri-County McDonald's, Patriot Home Care, Monroe Auto Body, NovaCare, J. Young Refuse, NAMI Beaver County, and Beaver County Radio.
These days, it seems like you can get anything delivered to you. One click and bam! Groceries or lunch is on the way. That gave me an idea. This is the man that never stopped learning, Andy Dengel from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. It's also no secret that with Adams Street closed for construction, street-level access to the Rochester office is challenging, to say the least. So, that gives me an idea. Teller Dash. Hey, why not? If going up the outside stairs and using the drive-thru is an issue, give us a call from the parking lot, and Freedom United will teller dash out to you. Just dial 724-774-5575. Just think of your driver's side door as your own teller window. The Rochester office continues to be open during construction, and the Center Township and Harmony offices are available as well. So you can put a little freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
If you own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Have you recently had surgery or an injury that requires physical therapy? Or maybe you just need a partner in wellness. NovaCare Rehabilitation has got you covered. With 6 convenient local locations, there's bound to be a NovaCare Rehabilitation near you. NovaCare Rehabilitation is part of the largest physical therapy network in the U.S. with over 2,000 outpatient facilities and over 7,000 licensed therapists. NovaCare Rehabilitation has convenient early morning and evening hours and offer aqua therapy at the Rochester and Moon Township locations. Schedule your appointment today by going to www.novacare.com.
Have you had a McDonald's refresher yet? Stop by and pick up one of their tasty new drinks like strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, or the bold new blackberry passion fruit. You'll love it, and so will your taste buds. Only at McDonald's. I'm loving it.
America is turning 250, and Push Beaver County, Visit Beaver County, and Zambelli International are celebrating with the biggest Beaver County boom of all time on Saturday, June 27th at 9:45 p.m. Beaver County Boom 250 is presented by Visit Beaver County. Air Heritage's vintage C-47 military airplane, the Luck of the Irish, will fly over along with skydivers, and it will be followed up by the star of the show, Beaver County Boom 250 at 9:45 p.m. All the action takes place over the Ohio River between Monaca and Rochester. Bring your radio along or listen on your smart device to the Falcones Moon Township Ford live broadcast on Beaver County Radio beginning at 6. Title presenter sponsor of Beaver County Boom is Visit Beaver County. Gold sponsors include Air Systems Mechanical, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Randy Forner, the Borough of Beaver, Brighton Hot Dog Shop, Edward Jones and Tyson Smith, the Fry Transportation Group, Hash and Smash, and Heritage Valley Health System, among others. Don't miss Beaver County Boom, Saturday, June 27th.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Tuesday, June 16th of 2026. We will have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The National Weather Service confirmed that storms on Sunday evening led to a tornado in Beaver County. According to a public information statement yesterday, the NWS said a tornado was confirmed to have touched down near Darlington. Strong storms spawned a tornado in western Pennsylvania for the second weekend in a row. It crossed into the state from Ohio by State Line Road and Cannelton Road. Gas prices are 11 cents lower in western Pennsylvania this week at about $4.41 per gallon, according to AAA East Central's gas price report. The national average for a gallon of regular gas has fallen for 3 straight weeks, and it is now $4.06 because of reasons including a deal announced between the U.S. and Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The report states that the average price that you can expect for a gallon of regular unleaded gas here in Beaver County is about $4.67. The Newcastle Crime Unit of the Pennsylvania State Police are asking for the help of the public as they investigate new leads in an unsolved homicide which occurred 53 years ago in Lawrence County. According to an announcement from the state police on Thursday, 2 suspects are being sought in the death of 22-year-old Frank Dwayne Iwanico of Newcastle, who was killed in an alleged robbery attempt at a quarry near Covert Road in Union Township at 2 a.m. on June 9th, 1973. The description of the suspects can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com, and you can call 724-598-2211 if you have any information on the suspects. Representative Marla Brown announced yesterday that 2 Lawrence County projects have been awarded a total of $500,000 through the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement, or FAIR program, to support housing improvements, accessibility upgrades, and community revitalization efforts. The funding was approved this week by the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency Board as part of a statewide investment in community development and affordable housing initiatives. The projects, as well as the money and where they will go to, can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. And improving school meals while supporting farmers is the focus of the Pennsylvania Farm to Child Nutrition Summit tomorrow. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
Organizers say schools and food producers are facing mounting challenges, including budget constraints, staffing shortages, and supply chain issues. Elaine McDonald with Project PA says the one-day summit brings together child nutrition leaders, educators, food service providers, and community partners to exchange ideas, build connections, and share strategies that can be applied locally.
Coming together for this summit, we in particular thought one of the ways to best meet those challenges is partnerships, collaborations, relying on established relationships that we have that can advance common goals.
Over 2,000 schools participate in the Farm to School program, and it reaches more than 1 million students in Pennsylvania, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Wednesday's event takes place at the Bertram Garden in Philadelphia. Danielle Smith reporting.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Today it'll be mostly sunny with a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight. We'll reach highs of 75 and drop down to lows of 57. And tomorrow look for gusty winds with sunshine during the day, followed by showers and thunderstorms later in the evening. Expect highs in the upper 70s and lows of 66. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, June 16th of 2026 at 35 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 68 degrees with mostly cloudy skies out there currently in Beaver County. And that's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Hot coffee in the morning and Frank Sparks. Now you're in the fast lane. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and streaming live on beavercountyradio.com.
10:37 in Beaver County, visiting in hour number 1 with our good friend Tom Young from First Consultants. And where did we leave off? We were talking about
prosperity and poverty thinkers. So I just want to touch a few of these. I've got a lot of them. But okay. Poverty thinkers complain. They fear money. They consume, commiserate about loss. Back to that thinking stuff. You have a conversation with somebody, and you can always tell, is this a negative person or a positive person? Because they'll start to tell you about all the bad things that happened today. Oh, woe is me, and on and on. Float on society's whims, always want more, compete, reduce involvement, stop dreaming, focus on win or lose. Prosperity thinkers give gratitude, proactivity when possible. Love money, love as a verb. Create, appreciate abundance and look for it, set their own rules of engagement. They are content, not yet complacent. Collaborate, work on self-improvement. There's my little thing I always say. You're either busy being born or you're busy dying. What great book have you read recently that would make you a better person than you were before you read the book? So it's just understanding that, it's our choice. We have a choice on how we think. And what we see is an interpretation of the mind. We have to train the mind to interpret what we see. And then mental nearsightedness and farsightedness, the major distortion of mental vision. Mental nearsightedness, you're apt to overlook objects and possibilities that are distant. You are blind to opportunity. It could be by thinking and planning in terms of the future. You are nearsighted if you do not make plans from objectives and lay the foundation for your future. It's just, what do you get? I have stacks of these little cards from books I've read over the years, and I memorize a lot of them, and I work on me all the time on what's going on. So let me ask you the question. Who are we today? If we look around our country today, and in my 30,000-foot view, what do we see? We look into big cities like New York and in California, and I don't know if I'd ever want to go there and visit anymore, to New York City or to California with what's going on there. Washington, D.C. is sort of cleaned up now since the National Guard went in there and they lowered the crime rate. Actually, the crime rate in America right now is the lowest it's ever been in history. I guess, can we give Donald Trump credit for some of this? I don't know. But there are people that would blame him for the goodness that's... Now here, listen to what I'm saying. They would blame him for the good things that apparently are happening. If he found the cure to cancer, they would find something that was a cause, and they would blame him for something other than giving him credit. My experience, how did I get here? I'm 76 years old. In my early days in school, I got good grades and bad grades. I got straight A's in math, but in other studies I didn't do well. And it wasn't because I look back, I wasn't stupid, I wasn't dumb, I wasn't motivated. And there is the word when I meet people and I look at their financial program that they're on right now, and I take all of their current situation. Here you are right now today. If you stay on this road, this is where it's going to take you. Are you happy with that? Do you like the result in 10, 15, 20, 25, or 30 years based on what you're doing today? If you don't like the results, the potential of the results in your life, then something has to change. And change and growth are not optional. You either decide to grow you and change you, or the world will change you into what they want you to be, and they will render you that 95% of the dead or dead broke that I've talked about before in this program in going forward. So I got out of high school. I went straight into the Air Force. My dad was in the Army in World War II. My oldest brother was in the Army. My next oldest brother was in the Air Force, and I was the youngest of three. And my two brothers one was 8 years older than I, and the other one was 9 years older than I. So I guess I was the mistake. It's 9 years later. I don't know. But growing up, I saw my dad. My dad had an 8th grade education. And I saw most of my growing up years, my dad worked 2 or 3 jobs to pay the bills. And I would remember on payday, and as I got older, I always made it a point that I was never there on payday, because my dad would come home from work, and he was a stickler for paying the bills. And he would throw $3 on the table for my mom to go buy groceries with. And there was always an argument, a domestic fight, that wasn't abusive. I loved my mother and dad. They loved each other. And when my mother passed away, they had been married 53 years. I was just married 57 years a couple months ago in April. But that was my experience that led me into the world. And I went into the Air Force, and they promised me on paper that I would be an aircraft mechanic. And I went through basic training and came to the end of that, and they made me a medic. So I looked at times, and I was a very negative person. I had a very bad temper in my early days, and I reacted when this happened, and it could have ended my Air Force career, and I won't go into all the details of that, but it eventually worked out, and the commander convinced me that it was the right thing to do, because he believed I was the smartest guy in the group in the barracks, and I needed to do that, because there were only 2 of us that went to medical school, and I was one of them. I got out of the Air. I met my wife 3 months before I left for the Air Force, and I met her at a club in West Virginia. Her girlfriends dragged her there, and I was there because you could drink at 18 in West Virginia, and as a young man, well, that was what I did. We went down there. And I met her. I fell in love with her instantly. She was the first adult female I ever dated in my life. And I went to the Air Force, got out of the Air Force, and we got married 4 months after I got out of the Air Force. And it's been a journey in and all of itself. But in that process, I went to work on Conrail. I left Conrail to start at Tom's Auto Body, my first business. And I worked on cars since I was 12 years old. It was a hobby. I loved doing it. And when I had to do it for 12, 14 hours a day as a business, it got old. And God sent some guy named Ketterer to buy my business. I sold my business. And from there, a year in a garage with Ford Garage, Begland Ford in Bridgewater. And then I was offered the opportunity in the life insurance business. And in my mind, looking at where I had came from and seeing the potential that they opened the door to my eyes that this business could bring, my whole mind and my whole attitude changed at that moment in time. And I made a decision that me, Tom Young, I was going to be the best version of me that I could be. And just recently, I've got right now, and I'll give you some insight, folks, into my thinking. You know, people look at sales and they say, well, he's just selling something and all this. Let me give you some insight. I have right now probably about 8 moms and 3 or 4 so-called daughters, as I refer them to. And these are people that they've lost their spouse. They were clients for a long time. And the hardest thing in my mind that I could ever accept was people that are my clients for a period of time. And when one of them passes away, I mentally made a promise to this man, this spouse, that I would assure him that if he passed away first, his wife would be taken care of. If that didn't work, and that didn't happen, I couldn't live with myself. Let's take a break.
A lot has changed since 1885. That's when my great-grandfather, William Andrew Hartzell, opened the doors to our family-owned and operated funeral home. This is William F. Rick Murphy from the William Murphy Funeral Home Incorporated in Rochester. Together with my son, Brian C. Murphy, we represent a business that is now flourishing into its 5th generation. Throughout that time, we've had the pleasure of experiencing many of local memories that have made Rochester and the surrounding area so great. I'll bet many of you can easily recall the H.C. Fry Glassworks, Barnett's Bootery, or even Kaufman's Department Store with its massive double-decker parking lot.
To put things in perspective, my family was already serving others at their time of need before the automobile had even been invented and the aforementioned businesses started and ended. Our commitment to serve our community with dignity and compassion has allowed the William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. to preserve a business legacy that spans nearly 140 years, and we're still here. To contact us, visit our website at William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. or call 724-775-0309.
Summer is here and the deals are red hot, maybe even hotter than the summer's hottest days at Moon Township Ford. It's the America Value for American Values employee pricing program, and it's just in time for your 4th of July celebrations. Be the buzz at your 4th of July cookout with a brand new F-150, Bronco, or Bronco Sport in your driveway. Ford has extended the military discounts to all the armed services. Combine that with employee pricing, and your savings are out of this world. They're also buying cars every day, and they're paying over the moon to fill their current inventory needs. Call or come in and see them today. Ford's America for America employee pricing program going on now at Moon Township Ford, University Boulevard in Moon Township.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
We're talking with Art Cornell from Beaver Cemetery about cemetery care. Art, can you please explain your perpetual care fund to us?
A perpetual care fund is a trust established by cemeteries to ensure ongoing maintenance of burial grounds, mausoleums, forever. We set aside 15% of the sale price of burial plots and other cemetery items. Income generated from this fund is used to cover costs like mowing lawns, road repair, and other essential upkeep after all of the remaining burial plots have been sold.
So, people with plots at Beaver Cemetery can be assured that there are sufficient funds to maintain the cemetery in the future?
Yes. At Beaver Cemetery, we have a multi-million-dollar perpetual care fund. A third-party trustee, a fiduciary, is responsible for managing the fund. Everything your family has at Beaver Cemetery will be protected by our Perpetual Care Fund.
Folks, you can learn more at beavercemetery.net.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Weekday mornings were meant to drive in the fast lane. It's Frank Sparks on Beaver County Radio.
1049, 66 degrees in Beaver County, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studio. Visiting with Tom Young here in hour number 1, making his monthly appearance. And Tom, so, one of the reasons I think you get so passionate about this is people, we were talking about a little bit off the air, people do entrust their lives to you.
When you look at it in that aspect, people come to me and they tell everything. They share everything. I mean, there are people that come and they play games and they don't come back. But people that I work with, they trust that is the most valuable asset in my whole life, morning, noon, and night, is the value of that trust that people put in me. And I always... I love what I do. That people say, when am I going to retire? I don't even like the word retire because that means you get tired all over again. And I never, ever get tired of what I do. And I appreciate you, Frank. And I mean, what we do, I've been doing this since 1987 in one way or another on this radio station. So I've been on here a long, long time. And I just love sharing and sharing the truth. Here's this quote for you. If something you thought to be true wasn't true, when would you want to know?
Immediately.
Immediately. So in working with people, I use mathematics and truth. So, and I haven't said this for a long time, folks, but here it is, a $1,000 cash reward for anybody that can disprove anything that I talk about what I do. Because it is math. Now, I talked to somebody the other day. I want to talk about a new book. There's a brand new book. It's on Amazon. It's called Conscious Calculations by a guy named Todd Langford. And I have known Todd Langford for 35 years. And he is just an amazing, amazing guy. And he created calculators that I use. It's one of the calculators that I use to analyze and evaluate money. And he tells a story. Now, his mentor was a guy named Norman Baker. I knew Norman. I love Norman. I spent time with Norman. He was from Nacogdoches, Texas. And he was just a good old down-home boy, but he had more common sense than the nearest 100 people around him. And he told this story, one of the early things that Todd sells, and it's in his book, because I just got his book myself. It's brand new, and I started to read it. And he says, he was with Norman, they went into a bank, and the bank raised his interest rate on his business loan 1%, from 4% to 5%. And the bank would tell Norman, said, look, we only raised it 1%. And he said, Norman looked at him and says, no, you didn't. You raised it 25%. And right away, that was the beginning, Todd said, of understanding that there is a totally different line of thought in looking at things mathematically that deal with finance. And to prove the point, Todd you take $100,000 times 4%, and it's $4,000. You take $100,000 times 5%, and it's $5,000. Well, isn't $5,000 25% more than $4,000? So if you get the gist of what I'm sharing with you folks, it's, people ask me what I do, and I work in the financial service business, but I have an extreme unique approach to what I do. It has to be proven mathematically in every direction. It can't be theory or hope. It has to be verifiable and provable in everything that I do. And let me throw this at you, because knowledge is something you learn. Wisdom is the ability to apply that knowledge to your everyday life. And that was the example that I just gave you. That was a lesson in Todd's life very, very early in his career when he was just starting to do programming and understanding of computers. He was a computer whiz, and that was part of his college education in understanding that. So I have a brand new book, Jumpstart Your Financial Freedom. You can get it through me. I'm talking to Amazon right now to get it on Amazon with my other book, The Family Money Farm, is on Amazon. You can get it there. But Jumpstart Your Financial Freedom was just published, and I have the first box of books in my office. They're $19.95 if you want to pick it up. If you want to order it, it's $5 shipping, so it'll be $24.95 shipped directly to you. Autographed copy in what's going on. So that's the newest book. That is now my 5th book that I've authored. And I've got another one in my mind that I've been working on for a couple of years that's more a novel. About the financial industry, and I've told you about it in the past. It's about the beginning, 1905, and the people that were running the show. It led to the Federal Reserve being created. It led to the beginning of the income tax, and all these things was all driven by people that were very greedy and very wealthy, manipulative people in at that time, 120 years ago. In time.
You need to write a memoir eventually about your travels and your journeys.
I'll put that on the list, Frank. Another.
I think it's very interesting.
Another book.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories are just nothing more than my own personal experiences that I've had with everybody that I've met. And we're coming to the end of the time here. We're down the last few minutes, and courage is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. Success is never final, and failure is never fatal. It is courage that counts. Now, the reason I bring that up, because we're talking about thinking differently in your life. If you want different results, look at your peer group, look around you, and if your peer group is not achieving what you want in your life, then you need to make some changes in your life to find better results. You need to change you need to grow, you need to read books. And I always talk about books. My 3 most favorite books that I read every year in January is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Andrew Carnegie, or Dale Carnegie. And the other one is The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. Schwartz. You read those 3 books, I personally would guarantee you that you would have more prosperity and more positive thinking in your life than anything else you could do. I'm Tom Young. You can get me at 724-728-6820. I'm located at 1413 3rd Street in Beaver. I have several videos. The video that goes with my book, Jumpstart Your Financial Freedom, go to YouTube. Put in 1ST, First Consultants, Inc., Thomas Young. And all of my videos are right there. That's 1ST, First Consultants, Inc., by Thomas Young. You don't need by, just Thomas Young. And that video will be the first or second one on the list. And I challenge you to take the 50 minutes and watch that video. The first part of that video is about the debt of the government. I created that video in 2019 before COVID, and the debt of the federal government was $23 trillion. And we're right now on the doorstep of $40 trillion, 6-7 years later. And I hate to even think on where we're going forward, and I don't think we can go much further before the ultimate readjustment. And I'll be nice. I'll call it a readjustment, Frank. It's really what it's going to be. Give yourselves an opportunity. Come sit with me for 45 minutes. I'll make you 2 promises. I'm not going to ask you to buy a thing, and there won't be a second meeting unless you want it. God bless you all. Thank you for my listeners and the people on the Facebook that have listened for the program. God bless everybody. See you next month, Frank.
All right. Sounds good, Tom.
Hey, Bill, what's going on? I haven't seen you here in a long time.
Well, my mom can't stay at home any longer, and I've been trying to figure out what the best placement options are for her. There's so much to consider. Location, cost, eligibility, payment options, services. It's confusing and time-consuming.
When my dad